It's a real pleasure to be able to welcome you all to Magdalen College. I'm particularly sorry that because I'm elsewhere today, I can't be with you in person to take part in discussions which I think are of the very greatest importance. We're certainly in a period where all sorts of difficult and unexpected and unprecedented questions are being asked about the way the state relates to its populations. And that we have a forum like this for discussion seems to me very, very significant. So may I say that I hope Magdalen will be a welcoming place for you for this time, that your discussions will be fruitful and honest and creative.
The role of the state in people's lives is undoubtedly changing. I mean, here in the West, we've got a lot more impact from technology. We've seen what's been happening with the Arab Spring. I mean, do you think that politicians are becoming more victims of public opinion or not?
I think inevitably, with the development in modern technology, communication technology, political leaders are having to be more responsive to public opinion. The great challenge is how to use the resources of modern technology to inform, to enlarge debate, but to be a little bit cautious of simply regarding that as a license for politicians to make policy just on the basis of how many people have signed up on any one day to a particular point of view.
And I suppose one of the issues is that Twitter allows people to have 140 characters of rabid opinion. Is that dangerous?
I feel a bit ambivalent about that. I think the privileging of really instantaneous response doesn't always increase our understanding of things. And yet there are situations where things like Twitter and Facebook connection can effect some change, some movement. So, for example, the example I've often quoted, the earthquake in Christchurch in New Zealand, the instant or relatively instant assembly of a very large group of volunteers over a couple of days to do essential clearing up work there. That's the sort of thing that electronic media are brilliant at.
One of the features of the internet is that people can hide behind anonymity. Do you think that's potentially a bad thing?
I think it's certainly a very high-risk feature. We've seen in recent weeks just what anonymity can mean when you have these appalling campaigns of sexist bullying, violent threatening against people, especially women, in public. And I think that is a revelation of just how toxic anonymity can be. The question is, what do people want to be anonymous for? They may be whistleblowers, they may be people who really are putting their security on the line by communicating something, and you can quite see why anonymity is important there. How on earth we legislate around this, I really don't know, because balancing those out is hugely complicated. I'm a great believer in the local forum, the local quasi-parliamentary debate, in encouraging a forum for debate in schools, in colleges, in communities, so that in contrast to the short-term messaging of Twitter, you actually have to face somebody else who disagrees and argue your point and find something that perhaps you can agree about or agree that you can't. I've sometimes in the past spoken about the need for us to be an argumentative democracy, meaning by that a democracy in which people are used to forms of political engagement and participation. I think there's a long and noble political tradition in the English-speaking world of that kind of argumentative local politics. My worry is a kind of impatience in politics, and it's connected with my worry about our deep cynicism about political leadership. I have, I hope, no great illusions about our political leaders, but I think the readiness with which day by day we are encouraged to mistrust and undermine is not particularly good for us. There's a rather corrosive culture around that. And I'm certainly not saying that we ought to trust whatever our leaders say, but we ought not to mistrust everything that they say. We ought, I think, to have some sense that when we elect somebody to political leadership, we say, look, I'm not going to come knocking on your door every day to see how you're doing, or to see if you're fulfilling every aspect of your manifesto. I do trust you to get on with it, but bear in mind that the time will come when you will be held to account about this, quite properly. mean well, do your best, and I'll be in touch.